All right, guys, we got our Unit 3 graphic organizer here. So just kind of some review to start, and then we are going to learn a couple new things. So to start off here, we got vertex form, graphing out a vertex form. So first of all, labeling the vertex. So remember that's coming from the number in here, but we always switch it. So that's going to be our x value at +4 now. And then the number out here back, but that one we do not switch, so that's going to be -1. So we can go ahead and graph that 4, -1 would be right here. All right, and then our line of symmetry is always the x value of the vertex. So that's going to be x equals 4. I can go ahead and draw a quick sketch here with base, and I'm going to look at this number out front, which is -2, which means it opens down. And so I'm just going to make this go down. The fact that that's a 2 does make it a little steeper than usual. It's not super important, but just so you know, that's what that's for. But what's really important there is the negative. So then last up, we know the max or the min value is always the y value of the vertex. But to decide whether it's a max or min value, just look at the vertex here. And is it the highest point on the graph or the lowest point? So you can clearly see that that's the highest point, so that's going to be the max value, and that's going to be at -1. And so really, anytime it opens down, the vertex is a max value. Anytime it opens up, it's going to be a min value. All right, next up here, we got standard form. So then standard form, we find the vertex. First of all, we have to use our formula here. We have to use x equals -b/2a. So we have a, b, and c are the numbers in front here. So it's going to be -4/2 times 2. So that's -4/4. And so we know now the x value of our vertex is going to be -1. So then for the y value, we're going to go ahead and take that x value and we're going to plug it in for every x in the function. So 2 times -1 squared plus 4 times -1 plus 1. And so we're going to do PEMDAS. So we would do -1 squared is actually +1. So we got to do my exponents first. Then we're going to do multiplication. So 2 times 1 is 2. 4 times -1 is -4 plus 1. And now we do addition and subtraction. So 2 minus 4 is -2. -2 plus 1 is -1. So my vertex here, I actually got an x value of -1 and a y value also of -1. So it's going to go right there. My line of symmetry is always the x value of the vertex, which is -1. I see that we have an a value that is positive, so that's going to mean it opens up. And so it's going to go up like this and like this. Okay. So then I know then that the max or min value is always the y value in the vertex, which is also -1. And since this is opening up, that's going to be a min value. So the minimum value is going to be -1. Lastly, the y-intercept. Now on the standard form, the y-intercept is always c. And so this one I can just do, call it y equals 1, or you could call it the point 0, 1. It is right here. You can see my graph kind of does hit it there. All right, next up here we have intercept form. So our x-intercepts we have here, it's always the opposites of these numbers in here. So this is going to be x equals 4 and x equals -2. So I can graph those right here and right here. For the vertex x value is always the average of these two x-intercepts. It's always right in between these two x-intercepts. So if you want to do the average, you can add them together and then divide by 2. That's how you find the average. So 2/2, and the x value would be 1. You can kind of see here that 1 is right in between these two x-intercepts. You can see that's kind of right halfway from one to the other. And so that's kind of another way to do it, is just you look on the graph, it's right in between. Okay, so then next up, we need to find the y value of the vertex. So we're going to take that x value and we're going to plug it in for x into the function. So you can see I'm plugging it in for both of those x's. So it's going to be negative 3 times positive 3. So that's going to be negative 9. So my vertex then is at 1 comma negative 9. So that would be graphed down here. I can already draw my graph here. We don't have a negative out front of this, so it's not surprising to me that it's opening up. So we know that then this is a min value, since the vertex is the lowest point, and that is at negative 9. Remember, that's always the y value of the vertex. The line of symmetry is always the x value of the vertex, so that's going to be at 1. All right, so now for some new stuff here. We're going to rewrite these in the standard form. So remember the standard form, what we're eventually wanting it to look like is ax squared plus bx plus c. So you can see there that there's no parentheses. So my ultimate goal here is to get rid of the parentheses. So what I have to do this kind of PEMDAS, so I need to take care of the exponent first. Now remember, an exponent, a second power, just means write this twice and multiply it by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and use a box here, and we're going to multiply x plus 1 by x plus 1. So we go x squared, we have 1x, we have 1x, and then we have 1. And so I'm going to go ahead and then rewrite this in the parentheses. So all I did was multiply these two together using this box. So in here I have x squared. I'm going to combine the 1x and 1x is going to make 2x, and then I'll have the 1. So it's going to be x squared plus 2x, which once again, that comes from, I'm going to write that more neatly here, x squared plus 2x, which comes from adding together the 1x and the 1x, and then plus 1. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is multiplication, which is going to be to distribute the 2 there. And so that's going to be 2x squared plus 4x plus 2 minus 32. And then lastly, I'm just going to add and subtract, which is just combine like terms, which would be these last 2 back here. That would be minus 30, so plus 2 minus 32. All right, and so now you can see it's in that standard form, the ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so kind of similar idea on this next one, trying to get rid of the parentheses. So I'm going to start off with a box again. And in this case, my box is going to be these two guys multiplied together. So I'm going to put x minus 3 up here, x plus 5 down there. If I were to put those in the different order, it's fine. So I get x squared minus 3x, and then plus 5x, and then minus 15. So I'll go ahead and leave the 2 out here, and then we'll rewrite this. X squared, we combine these two, positive 5x and negative 3x makes positive 2x, and then minus 15. And then we'll just distribute that 2. So we get 2x squared plus 4x minus 30. Because that was a 15 that I wrote not very neatly. Oh, all right. So you actually see that these were actually the same two functions here. So kind of all 3 of these functions are actually the same, just written in the different forms. All right, next up here, we're writing an equation based on the graph. So I think that the most important part here is the vertex. So you can see that the vertex here is here, and the vertex would be at 2 comma negative 3. So then when I write this, I would just write it as y equals, I'm going to leave a alone for now. But I'm going to say x minus 2 squared minus 3. So remember, this number goes in here, but we have to switch the sign, and then that number goes out back. Now for the a value, I know it's opening down, so a is negative. And the thing I notice here is that if it was negative 1, it would go down 1 over 1. In this case, it goes down 1, or sorry, over 1 down 2. Both sides, so that actually means it's a negative 2 here. So that is based on it going down 2 and over 1 to the next point. All right, next up, they're wanting us to write this, and this looks like intercept form here. So I'm just going to focus on the y-intercepts. Sorry, not the y-intercepts, the x-intercepts. So we have 4 and negative 1. And so then I know that I'm going to have it as x plus 1 and x minus 4. So remember, we're getting those from the x-intercepts here, but remember it's the opposite. We switch the signs there, okay? All right, now for a, I know a is going to be positive because it's opening up. And then it looks to me like from here, it goes over 1 and up 1. And so I'm going to say that a is 1. So it's going to be x plus 1 times x minus 4. Now, of course, if it is 1, we don't really need the 1 there, so I'm just going to put it as x plus 1 times x minus 4. All right, next up they're wanting us to rewrite this into intercept form, and they give us the key here, which is to factor. So if we want to go to intercept form, we're just going to go ahead and factor. So I'm going to use my x here. So remember we put a times c up top when we have a, b, and c, and a is really 1 here. And then b goes on bottom. So a times c is negative 18, and then b is 7. So we think of two numbers that multiply to negative 18 and add to 7. So it sounds like 9 and negative 2 to me. So remember we have to take those and split up this middle term, 9x, negative 2x. And then we bring this one down. I'll just write x squared. You could write 1x squared if you wanted to, and then negative 18 back here. Then we do our grouping. So the first group I can take out x, which will leave me with x plus 9. The second group I can take out 2, because they can both divide by 2. But since this third term, or the first term in the second group is negative, I want to take out a negative 2, which leaves me with x plus 9. And then so I can write it now as x minus 2 times x plus 9, and that is it. So if you're wanting to change from standard form to intercept form, all you're going to do is factor. All right, so same idea here. Factor to rewrite it in intercept form again. Now, the first thing I notice here is that these are all even. And so if they're all even, that means on these I can take out a 2. So if I take out a 2, everything gets divided by 2. 32 divided by 2 would be 16. And I notice that they're all actually even again. And so that means I can take out another 2. And so I'm just going to take out another 2. Now there was already a 2 out there, so I'm just going to multiply those together. And then divide everything by 2 again. Okay, so obviously this is going to become a 4 here. But I need to do my other factoring here, which is multiplying a times c. And when I'm doing that, now I know that a is 1 here, b is negative 7, and c is negative 8. So that's why a times c now is just negative 8, and then b is negative 7. So thinking of two numbers that multiply to negative 8 and add to negative 7, that's negative 8 and positive 1. So I'm going to split this up then. So we'll write it as x squared minus 8x plus 1x minus 8. And those negative 8x and 1x are coming from here. Remember, the order doesn't matter on that. And then I'll go ahead and do my grouping here. So the first group I can take out an x. The second group, it looks like I can't take out anything, but I have to take out either 1 or negative 1 when that happens. Now this one, the first term is positive, so I'm going to take out a positive 1, which leaves me with my x minus 8 as well. Good news, I got the same thing in both parentheses. So I know I can write this as x plus 1 times x minus 8, and then I have the 4 out front still. So I'm going to leave that out there, and there you go.